Hey, this is Alec Kermit. Welcome to part 2 of my 007 Agent Under Fire speedrunning guide. In this final part, we're going to be looking at advanced and obscure time-saving techniques. And the first one is explosion boosting. So this is when you use a grenade or any other explosive to gain additional height or horizontal speed. Now the first thing you need to understand is that while the ground has a traction that will try to slow you down pretty quickly, the air does not. So with a grenade, if you just throw it, you'll notice there's a 4-second countdown timer starting from the point when you throw the grenade from your hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I jumped at about the same time that the explosion went off, and I got some pretty good height and forward momentum. Now, this is not a very convenient way to explosion boost because you have to wait 4 seconds and you have to time your jump just right. But if we find what's called an instant explosion spot, then we can make the grenade explode immediately, and it just takes all of the complication and slowness out of the process. So to find an instant explosion spot, you want to look for something in the level that is able to move or transforms or deforms in some way or another. So for example, this bus that drove in from the side of the level, this is an instant explosion spot. Doors, enemies, and also some random objects. Like these cars, they don't move or change in any way, but they are still instant explosion spots. So you'll want to poke around to find these spots in the levels. So with an instant explosion spot, I can just throw this grenade and jump at the same time, and you can see I get some good momentum. Now, I slowed down really quickly when I touched the ground, but we can use a technique called bunny hopping to prolong that speed. So if I press jump around the same frame that I touch the ground, I'll keep my speed. You can also combine an explosion boost with the jetpack for an extra big boost. Simply send out your explosive and press the jetpack button at the same time. Next, let's talk about wall slide strafe jumping, which is the easiest form of strafe jumping in the game. And this 90-degree turn in Trouble in Paradise is a perfect place to practice. So as we're coming down this wall in our wall slide, because this is a 90-degree turn, if we just hold to the right, we'll have the exact same speed and angle against the wall as we had before the turn. So after you turn this corner, if you jump and turn to almost 45 degrees and begin bunny hopping, then you'll start building up a speed that is much higher than a normal wall slide. Regular strafe jumping is more complicated and not as fast, but you can use it anywhere. If I wanted to strafe jump to the right, I would start moving forward, jump, hold to the right on the movement stick, and then start bunny hopping. I would then add turns in the middle of each jump. So that would look like this. So I pretty much made a circle, but I started gaining good speed. You can also try to strafe jump in a straight direction by changing your angle often. So like this. This is a pretty big workout on the hands, and you'll need to practice it a lot to make it really effective. Now let's look at the rapid fire glitch, which is used to make the P2K and FSU4 fire faster. This is particularly useful in a full game run with the P2K since it fires pretty slow and is pretty weak by default. So what you do is simply switch the firing mode, in this case take the silencer off or put it on, and during the animation you're going to hold down the fire button. Here's an example of the rapid fire glitch being used in any percent to take down an enemy that's holding a shotgun. It's the same for the FSU4, except you'll always be switching from the secondary firing mode to the primary, like this. And finally, there's tap firing. By default, automatic weapon accuracy will degrade the longer you hold down the fire button. But if you rapidly tap the fire button instead of holding it down, the accuracy will not degrade. Now, just because this guide is over doesn't mean you've learned everything there is to know. There are many level-specific tricks you'll want to learn, and for that I have a series of videos in the guide section of speedrun.com/AUF. You'll find other resources, guides, and a link to the Discord channel on speedrun.com/AUF. Thanks for watching.